Finally, I'm putting up the video of my first jiu-jitsu competition, just straight into my first fight here. Obviously, I'm a white belt. I just started doing jiu-jitsu, so the guy I was fighting was also white belt. And I was in the below 94 kilo weight class. I think it's 94 kilos to 88 kilos. So I'm just gonna show you guys all my fights. I skip over some of the more boring parts where I'm not doing much, but I'm just gonna commentate here. This is my very first fight ever, so I'm being kind of careful not to get caught in any positions. Here you can see I'm just trying to control his arm, and I got him in a headlock here, and here I'm trying to pull his arm in to go for something called an anaconda choke, but he actually ends up slipping out here, as you can see. So I kind of lose the grip, and again, just trying to control my opponent, keep my weight on him. So that's the one thing that actually is really tiring, is when you're the guy on bottom and you have someone just putting all their weight on you. You know, here I'm sprawling. As you can see, he was trying to grab my legs, and I just spread my legs out and put all my weight on him. Again, a lot harder for him to work from there than for me just you know, putting my weight on top. So here I go around, grab the back. I think that gets me a couple points, and then, you know, I'm not really sure what I was doing here. I think I was trying to get my legs inside to go for a choke, but he was able to roll off. Yeah, he starts controlling my legs here, so I'm just trying not to fall into any techniques. And here he's trying to sweep me. So as long as he doesn't sweep me, I won't lose points. You know, and in jiu-jitsu you get points if you get a dominant position. You also get points if you get the back. But here, and if you're on the bottom, if you sweep the person and get on top, you get points. That's what my opponent was trying to do here, and as you can see, we just went on. I skipped a few times because we just went on a couple of times doing the same thing, and then he eventually actually sweeped me, which gave him a few points. So now we're probably quite equal on the scoreboard. So you know, I'm not very good on bottom. I don't know that many techniques yet, so I was just trying to keep calm and try to do the things that I've been taught so far by my coaches. Here you can see I was trying to drag his arm down. I put my left arm around his arm, and then I grab his collar on the inside, just to be able to control that right arm of his so that he can't do anything with that arm. And then what you see me doing here is I'm trying to grab his left arm and pull it out so that I can bring my right leg over his shoulder, going for something called a triangle choke, and that's what I was trying to do here. But as you can see, his arm is still between my legs, so I wasn't able to clear his arm completely, and because of that, I also let go of his right arm, and because of that, he was able to, you know, quite easily get out of that attempt. But then I just, you know, kicked him off and got up, and my one arm, and he was maybe going for a triangle or an arm bar, but, you know, I was able to get out of that. Here I was trying to jump over his guard. So in jiu-jitsu, guard is just, you know, the defense where you have your legs defending, you know, limiting where your opponent is moving. I was trying to jump over it, wasn't quite able to get it, but I'm in the half guard, which is where he has only one of my legs. So again, I'm in the top position, which is a lot easier for me. But here he's able to get the full guard, which is both legs around. But at this point, I do actually have, I think I'm winning on points. At this point, I'm just being kind of mean, and as you can see, I'm really pressing down my elbow really hard on his neck, make it hard for him to breathe. It's not the nicest thing to do, but it, you know, really tires your opponent out. But yeah, it wasn't, I could tell he was getting quite frustrated at that, but, you know, it's part of the sport. Here I think I was finally able to get around his guard. You can see me trying to get my knee out of his guard and just, you know, keeping my weight on top of him so he can't escape. And here I finally get out of his guard and just, you know, drive around. And here, this is called the side control positions, because I'm out of his guard, I'm out of his leg protection. So this got me another few points, so now I'm definitely leading. And here I think he's trying to get my leg back in, but wasn't successful. And that, yeah, I think that was the end of the first fight. So it was a good first fight. You know, I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, I had the size advantage, you know. I think I was probably the biggest guy in my weight class anyways. I was just under 94 kilos. But it was a good first fight. I felt pretty good, but it was surprisingly tiring for just a 5-minute round here. This guy was my second fight. And again, as you can see, I do have a size advantage over him as well. And here he's trying to grab my leg and I just sprawl and grab his back. So here from the back, you know, I'm controlling, I'm in a better position, which there you see the ref gave me a few points. I don't know exactly how many points, but you know, that gives me the lead. And here I think he stands us up, puts us back in the middle, and we start from the same position. Here I'm grabbing his legs and trying to drive him over to his back. And looks like I was able to do that here. And then I'm trying to avoid him getting his guard or getting his legs, you know, under me so that he can get into a good defensive position. So here again, I was able to get pretty early on in the match. I got into a pretty dominant top position, which is good for me and tiring for him because he's lifting him and me while I'm just, you know, staying in control on top and letting him do all the work. So here I was trying to get, you know, as you can see, I put my head underneath his arm, his right arm, and that is because I'm going for something called an arm triangle, which is where you choke around the neck and around the arm. So here I'm really I'm not in the good position to do the choke, because to really do the choke you have to get all the way around with your body to the other side. So I want to get my legs to the same side where I have my head before I can execute the choke properly. And here I skipped because we were probably in that position for a while. And here you can see I'm really trying to choke, but it's, you know, I'm actually wasting my energy here because this is not a good position to be executing the choke from. And you see here he got me in half guard, so one of my legs is stuck, and from here I'm really pressing now. I'm actually really trying to choke him, and you know, it doesn't look like it's really doing anything to him. Like he's probably not very comfortable, but you know, he's not about to get choked out or anything. But here I think I finally you can see me trying to work my left leg out of his half guard. So I think, yeah, right here you see I'm putting my right leg in, and then he got that leg. So now I'm in the half guard, but it's the other leg. So now I'm in a little bit more favorable position. I'm more on the side I want to be. So again, I go for the same choke. I'm pressing, you know, I'm using my biceps as hard as I can, and this time he was getting more uncomfortable. You can see he's really getting comfortable. But now I got completely to the side, and this is actually the perfect position to do this choke. But by this point, I had already been trying to choke him out for so long that my arms were completely burned out. But, you know, I could still feel that he was getting pretty choked and pretty desperate. But here, I go back onto the mount, which was a kind of a mistake, because that's not, you know, it was a better position where I was before. To do the arm triangle choke, I should have just stayed on the side and went for the choke instead of going back onto mount, which is the position where I'm in now. So that wasn't the smartest move on my part. But I have to say this guy was really tough because, you know, I actually really went for the choke and I really pressed as hard as I could. And I know how hard it is to breathe when somebody does that. But this guy just didn't want to give up. So I have to give him credit. Like, this guy was a really tough guy. You know, had a good fighter mentality. So here he was able to get up. And, you know, I'm leading quite a bit by points by this point, I think, and I'm just trying not to tire myself out too much at this point because I do not know how many more fights I'm gonna have during this competition. Here I try to grab his leg, but before I can execute the throw, the judge or the referee stops us and puts us back into the middle. So here we start again. He tries to go for the ankle pick, which is where he grabs my ankle, but like I was able to react fast enough to get out of the way, and then again just put my body weight on top, and from there just making things hard. Here I'm in a side control, so you see the referee gave me more points, and from here I'm just using my weight to stay in control, not do anything crazy, not risk any like dangerous positions, and just control the rest of the fight, because like I said, I did not know how many more fights I was gonna have in this competition. So I did want to save my energy for my next fights as well. And here I skipped because I was just lying on the same position, not really doing much. But yeah, it looks, a lot of times in the jiu-jitsu, it looks like we're not really doing much, but we're actually working really hard all the time. There's a lot of grips and there's a lot of movements all the time. So it's not as it's a lot more tiring than it looks when you're just lying on the ground. So then this match was finished. Again, this guy, really tough. That was actually it for the competition for my weight class. The guy you see in the gold, he was actually in my club, so I didn't end up competing against him. So what ended up happening is I gave him the gold medal in exchange for an acai. So after that, we went on to the all weight class competition, which is against this guy, which I think was the only guy in the competition who was above my weight class that I fought. So I was happy to get a challenge because this guy was heavier than me. But as you saw here, I got a pretty good throw in the beginning, and that already gave me a few points. And again, you know, I was just really trying to be a smart fighter because, you know, I'm not that technically good yet. I've only been training for for a few months. But and I didn't know how many more fights I was gonna have, and obviously this guy is pretty strong as well, so I didn't want to risk having to battle and waste way too much energy fighting this guy when I probably have quite a few more fights after this. So as you can see here, he was trying to turn me around, but I was just, you know, being patient, staying on top and staying in control, using my weight to restrict his movement. And yeah, like I said, this was the absolute competition for white belts, so that means all the people who got medals in the competition for their weight class gets to compete in the all weight class, or the absolute competition, and the winner of that gets the prize of 100 euros and the gi or something like that. So, you know, that's why here I'm actually competing against someone who's above my weight class, which was a nice challenge. I actually went into it hoping I was gonna get the heavy guy because, you know, I actually had a size advantage over some of my other opponents, so I wanted to get a bigger challenge this time. Here again, like I said before, I was just really trying to stay in control. You can see he's actually trying pretty hard to roll me over and get out. Here you see he actually rolls over, I get his back, and here I grabbed his legs and got him on his back, but he actually got the half guard, so he has one of my legs here. But from here again, I just grab his collars and just stay in control, stay on top. You know, it must have been pretty frustrating for the guy because I could tell he was trying quite hard to get out, you know, but, you know, instead of just trying to finish the fight, I was really going for the prize. I was going for to win the competition, and to win the whole competition, I was thinking, you know, I better conserve my energy and, you know, fight smart so that I have enough energy to fight more fights after this. Because like I said, again, I didn't know how many more fights I was going to have. If you keep winning, you keep fighting. So I just stayed in control, stayed on top, and, you know, let him do the work and get tired while I just use my weight to stay in control. So here I'm actually trying to pull up his arm, you know, perhaps to go for the arm triangle that I tried to go for last time again. But this guy was pretty strong, so I think I ended up just not, you know, just giving up on the arm triangle and just staying in control because I knew I was leading by this point. I had quite a few more points than him. So I was just staying in control, trying to fight smart. And here you can see, you know, he's probably, I could feel this guy was getting pretty frustrated because you know, it's frustrating when you get thrown down in the beginning of the match, and then the rest of the match you're on bottom and you have a guy on top and you're just working to get him off you. And, you know, I wasn't really making it easy for him. I was really just, you know, putting all my weight on him and just really trying to control. So here, the annoying part here is that this is the best part of the fight. This is actually where I actually got his back, but because somebody decided to stand in front of the camera, we didn't get to see that. So the first thing you see here is I actually got his back, which is annoying because I definitely wanted to see that part of the fight again. But anyway, so I ended up getting his back here, and you can see me putting my legs inside his legs, so that way I can control him and he can't roll out of my grip. So from the back here, this is a position where a lot of fights finish because you can go for the rear naked choke, which is, you know, pretty easy choke to get. But, you know, I was taking my time. I already knew I was leading, so I was just trying to again control. Here you can see I'm trying to get my right arm in under his chin and get it around his neck so that I can get the choke. But he's defending pretty well. He's really blocking my arms all the time. I don't know what the referee just gave me points over there for, but here at this point I actually got my arm under his chin, and it was just a matter of time before I was going to get the choke. But, you know, the ref stopped us there. That was the 5 minutes. And so I ended up beating my opponent and going to the quarterfinals for the absolute competition. So after this, I actually went up against another guy who I think was in my weight division, and this guy was pretty big as well. He was very strong, and actually out of all the guys I fought, this guy here was probably physically the strongest guy. Like I felt it straight away when he got a grip on my collar that this guy has a pretty strong grip. So again, here we're just trying to get grips like always. We just start standing, get grips. Here he tries to throw me, I get the better stance, and I'm able to throw him. Again, just he was trying to get the guard, and I'm just trying to pass the guard and get into a good position. Here the ref doesn't give me points because I didn't get into the side control, but here, yeah, you see here he actually got the full guard, so I ended up not getting the points for a dominant position. Here we got moved to the middle again, so I start off from the full guard here and just keeping my pressure. You can see me just driving up on my toes and really keeping the pressure on him, so not to make it easy for him to start attacking my neck with his legs or my arms, any arm locks or anything like that. Here he tries to grab my leg, and you can see me trying to avoid, and again just putting my pressure on top. It might look silly, but there's actually a lot of tactics and a lot of technique that can be done from this position. So it's not just two guys putting their legs around each other. There's actually a lot of stuff that can happen from here. Again, the referee stops the fight, puts us in the middle as we were moving outside of our zone, and again we start from the full guard position here. At this point, I think again we were still 0-0 in point wise, so I was not winning by this point. And like I said, this guy was really strong. Here he's just pulling me in, and I'm one of the stronger guys probably in my weight class, but this guy was really strong. I could definitely feel that he was he physically he was very strong. So I was really, again, knowing that if I win this fight I might have more fights, so I was really trying to fight smart. Here he tried to go for a triangle, and I managed to get out, and you can see I was trying to get around his guard again, but he actually got his legs around. But here you can see I was able to smash his leg, and then I tried to get to the side control, but he defended really well, came with me, and then I tried jumping onto the other side and get moved into the middle again, and we start. So here it starts again. I'm not even up by points, but here you see he almost rolled me over there, so that could have been very dangerous. Like I was able to push back over and get on top, but if I wasn't able to do that and he came on top, that could have been a different fight for sure. That was probably the most dangerous part of the fight, is where he almost got on top, and then I would have been the one who had to work so much more. While when I'm on top like this, I can really use my weight to tire him out while not doing as much myself. I'm just trying to be patient and waiting for an opportunity. He's again trying to roll me off of him, and here I was able to get my legs out of his guard, as you can see, and that's where I finally get my points to take the lead. So now I'm in the lead. And again, once I was in the lead, I just decided, you know what, I have more fights to go, and I'm gonna prioritize saving my strength for my next fight. So I'm not gonna go for any crazy moves or anything like that. So I just stayed in control, pretty much blanketed him, as they say. It's kind of boring to watch, but it's like at this point I was just being tactical about it. And as you can see here, he's trying to push me off, trying to explode out, but I'm just staying on my toes, putting all my weight on him, and really making it hard for him to move. And that's pretty much what my tactic was for the absolute competition. Once I started going for the prize, which is if you win the absolute out of all the weight classes, if you win that, you get the prize. So since I started that, because the first two fights I did actually feel like I got pretty tired. For these last few fights, I decided I need to start being a little smarter and conserving my energy where I can. So here we finished. As you can see, once I got my points, I really just stayed safe, and here I ended up winning. I think this was the quarterfinals, so now I'm going on to the semifinals of the absolute competition. And here for the semifinals, at first, once I saw my opponent, I was like, oh wow, I'm sorry, I have a pretty big size advantage, obviously. So I was like, wow, poor kid. I was almost obviously I wasn't arrogant. I was still I still was thinking I was going to do my best, but I was kind of feeling sorry for the kid because, like I said, I had a pretty big size advantage. But to my surprise, it was actually one of my harder fights because this guy was extremely good technically. As you can see here, I am just trying really hard to get my legs around him so that I can get into a more dominant position, but he just keeps rolling his legs underneath, and it was really hard to get into a good position with this guy because he was, like, technically he was a much better fighter than me. It's just, you know, with my size advantage, I guess I was able to stay in dominant position quite a bit, as you can see here. But again, you know, I didn't want to. I was being careful just because I don't have that much technique and I want to make it to the finals. As you can see here, he was able to pretty easily get his legs around and get the full guard. So now he has both legs around. That's the full guard. Here he's coming up to a high guard. So he's coming closer to being able to attack my neck and do moves like that. So I just stand him up, you know, because that way it's harder for him to attack. And at this point I was just, you know, really just trying to think how I was going to get out of this guard, because it felt like this guy was technically really sound, you know. So here I'm just trying to use my elbow to press his knee out, and just thinking. You can see him he's pretty calm in this position. He's just thinking of what attacks he can go for. He's reaching for legs, reaching for my collar. So we're both really just kind of thinking what's the best move to do now. And you know, I'm just really trying to get rid of his one leg right there, as you can see. And here I get rid of that one leg, and I try to bring my right knee up onto his leg so that I can explode out. And there you see I almost got that leg through, but again, this guy, being as technically good as he is, he just slides with me and gets his right leg right back around into the full guard. So I didn't get any points for that because he was able to get right back into the guard. So again, I was starting to really kind of worry that this guy was actually really good, and it's actually one of my hardest fights for sure. Here you see he starts attacking my arm, trying to go for an arm bar, but I was able to get out. Here it almost looked like he was gonna give me a handshake, and I just, you know, just jumped over his legs and tried to go for it. So here I kind of apologized for that, and he was like, yeah, it's fine, and then we kept fighting. So again, he has really good technique. He's really being able to control my hips with his legs. He puts his, you know, feet around, and it's really hard for me to get into a good position. Here you see, even though one of his legs isn't around me, he really knows how to use them to stay in a guard position. Here I finally was able to smash. You saw I smashed his leg out, and when I smashed his leg out, I was able to move into side control. Here you could see he was trying to get his leg back around to get back into the full guard, but I was able to stay in the dominant position for enough seconds that the referee gave me the points. So this was the first time in the match that I went up in points. So now I'm finally leading. As you can see here, again, he gets his left leg around my leg, and then slides his right leg underneath me and gets back into the full guard. So this guy, like, I didn't even know how he was doing this at this point. I was, you know, I thought I got into a good position, but he would get straight back into the guard. So like I said, this kid was really quite technically good. No, for sure a lot better than I was. You know, I guess I had the size and the strength advantage. That's the only thing I had working for me. But this guy was really hard to get around his guard. It was really here again, he's trying to get his leg in front of my head so that he can attack my arm and go for an arm bar. But I keep my elbow very close, and I guess just because of strength, I was able to rip it out. Again, I smash his legs out of the way and rotate around him to get into the side control position again. Here you see the referee counting. Once I pass a certain amount of seconds, he gave me more points. So it's exactly the same thing happened last time. I get into the side control and get points. And here again, he grabs my leg with his right leg and starts sliding his left leg all the way around and gets back into full guard. So again, this is the third time it's happened the same thing. I just wasn't able to stop him from getting into this getting back into full guard. But then again, he attacked my head, and again, I just used my strength to rip my arm out, and again smash his leg over and get into the side control. At this point, it was getting towards the end of the fight, and you know, I think he realized it wasn't really gonna work. But you know, here I got up and I told him, you know, after the fight, I told him, man, you're a lot better at jiu-jitsu than I am. I'm just, you know, a lot bigger. So I had the advantage there. So here what happened, as you can see, I actually didn't. I went to the final, but the guy on my right who got the silver, he was actually in my club, so we didn't want to fight each other since we're teammates. So what ended up happening is that we just flipped the coin. I got the gold, he got the silver, and we ended up winning the prize, which was 100 euros plus a new gi plus I think it was a few salads or something. So that was fun. You know, it was a lot of fun. It was my very first jiu-jitsu competition. I had a ton of fun, and you know, I realize a lot of you guys watching probably don't know too much about jiu-jitsu, but I hope those of you who have watched the whole thing thought it was interesting, and I will be making a video relatively soon, so stay tuned for that. And like always, thanks for watching.